documentary, we will cover 4 key topics. How climate change is changing, how human influence is making it worse, the impacts of climate change on ecosystems, and what it means for the future. Thank you. Now I'll take it over.
Hi, I'm going to talk about human influences on climate change. So we burn a lot of fossil fuels. It's a piece of coal to represent that. This adds carbon dioxide and other pollutants to the atmosphere, and that's a greenhouse gas. We've also deforested lots of rainforest as a tree. We used CFCs in fridges and atom bomb testing. All results in greater climate change. So some of the impacts or potential impacts of climate change are an increase in global temperature. The warming is expected to be greatest in the Antarctic, so glaciers will melt and sea levels will rise. There's also going to be other changes to the ecosystems. One example of this might be that more tropical temperatures mean that mosquitoes can thrive, so there's an increase in malaria.
Thank you so much for that lovely demonstration of how climate change is affected from human influences. Is that Willie? Right, I asked. Oh, what is it, Cooney?
It's an atom bomb.
An atom bomb! Oh, sorry, I'm a bit confused, you know. Look at me, I'm not a biologist myself, Cooney is. So, now, let's ask Chen what we're going to do next.
I got broads in the London, to the V in the front, credit cards in the scams.
Human influences have a great impact on ecosystems. Much of the humans actually rely on the ecosystems for natural resources such as fossil fuels, other resources such as food sources as well. However, due to an increasing population, we are actually depleting those resources. Human waste enters other natural ecosystems. This is from household waste, industrial waste, agricultural waste, and gases produced when fossil fuels are burnt. For an example, harvesting timber has a negative effect on our world. For example, it leads to soil erosion and loss of habitat. And without a great biodiversity, the world will simply not survive.
Okay, yes. So now we've gone through the biology of climate change and how it affects our ecosystems, etc. So, now we're going to take it to the general public and ask what they think. So, we're in the breadths of South Oxley, and the A-level biology gang are going around again interviewing whoever we can find about what their views are on climate change. Okay, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. What are your views on climate change? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, I'm pretty stunned. I don't really know what to say about that. Let's hope they come back and answer a few questions. And we're here asking the general public what your views are on climate change and global warming. So, what are your views on climate change and global warming?
I'm concerned about.
Okay, yes.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I am concerned about the future and climate change. The whole world needs to change their outlook on recycling and making the universe a better place.
Okay, so now let's take it to Joseph Mohan, who is a Year 10 student at Watford Boys. What's your views on climate change?
Just like this person, I'm concerned as well. I believe deforestation should be happening.
Why is that?
This is because we're getting rid of the biodiversity, we're losing all of the vegetation, and global warming is increasing.
Look at that, better than me. Okay, so we're going to go back to the people who recently saw us and ask them some questions about what their views are on climate change. Let's go. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. So, I'm going to forgive you for your previous actions, but what are your views on climate change?
Well, I'm worried about it because, you know, my future children, my grandchildren. My grandchildren, it's going to affect them. Yeah, it's going to affect them, so yeah, I'm worried about it. You know, all the polar ice caps melting, you know, an increase in flooding, You know, it's quite bad.
And what do you think?
Yeah, same thing really, to be honest. I mean, I'm using a car, I know it burns off, like, releases
The rise in
CO2.
sea levels as well, it's quite bad.
Or the exhaust pipe. Just take a look at the exhaust. Just take a look.
Where's the
Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. The car companies sell their product by saying they have catalytic converters just before the exhaust pipe, and they say that certain gases that will enter the atmosphere won't be affecting.
Wait, Timo, should we blur that the sign?
No. Vroom vroom, get out me car. I would like to stress the importance of keeping our environments a clean, efficient and green place. So, as you can see here, before we had the climbing wall, but now what the school have decided to do is chop all the trees down and build a building called the STEM block. Like, what is that? A STEM block? Oh my god. It just makes me... See? And also, as you can see, a lot of litter has dispersed around where the building was because of lousy builders and how they're not keeping themselves clean or tidy. So as you can see, if you zoom in over there, you've got a lot of leftover trees, and they've been chopped down just for this building, which will cost a lot of money and produce a lot of greenhouse gases and increase the carbon count into the atmosphere. So, and also, as you can see, the litter is very, very bad, I must say. But yes, let's take it back to Chen.
Yeah.
So Chen, what do you think of this really bad deforestation?
Yeah, it's quite bad, yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
Okay, so hello boys. Okay, so Jamie,
I don't want to be...
do you mind if we ask a few questions about climate change? We'll blur your face out. We'll face
I
it
don't
front.
care. Confidentiality, mate. No.
Jamie, do you mind if we ask you a few questions about global warming? You do mind? Last year, JK decided that it would be beneficial for him to drop biology. So, although he might be a bit off in terms of his biology, like, you know, definitions and his actual knowledge of the subject, but he's going to give us a little bit of a chat about what his views are on climate change and what he feels would improve the way we can be more green. Chen, do you know the question?
Talk about climate change.
So, Johnny, what are your views on climate change?
Well, the world's getting hotter, isn't it? It's about it.
Do you have anything to elaborate on that?
Yeah, we need to take action.
What sort of action?
So, stop using fire. Use sustainable energy, like electricity and wind and wave.
Do you, in your everyday life, do you think you can change anything you do to make yourself more to help causes of climate change?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so things like recycling, turning off like electricals at mains instead of just putting them on standby. Yeah, it's good.
Alright,
Thank you so much, JK. Thank you so much. Pleasure. Pleasure. You got that okay? Chen, what do you have to say?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Not even Chelsea FC?
Nah. Due to the increase in temperature, the enzymes aren't as active as they are when they're at the optimum temperatures, so the growth of certain plants are stunted, meaning they can't take in as much CO2 as they normally do, so the CO2 levels in the atmosphere is higher. In other places, temperature increase could be higher than the optimum, resulting in organisms' death.
As the sun's rays reach the Earth's surface, some are absorbed and re-emitted as heat. Greenhouse gases, such as water vapor and carbon dioxide, absorb and re-radiate some of this heat. Increased amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere mean more heat is trapped, warming the Earth. Human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels, have increased concentrations of atmospheric carbon dioxide by 40%, mainly since 1900. Global average surface temperature has increased by 0.8 degrees Celsius over that time. Other changes to the climate in recent decades can be seen in the warming of the oceans, a rise in sea level, decreasing snow and ice cover in the northern hemisphere, and a decline in sea ice in the Arctic. If emissions continue unchecked, then further warming of 2.6 to 4.8 degrees Celsius would be expected by the end of this century. Even at the low end, this would have serious implications for human societies and the natural world.
I don't think it's pumping.
It is.
Research.
Hazard, that's all.
Pedro is
decision making
Dots.
so much.
Just to keep recording.
It was so good.
I'm smiling.
People came here at 10 o'clock, we decided to play. People came at 10 o'clock, so we decided to play a few matches of FIFA. Now, I've got something written down, I didn't even know what I've written down. But Cooney and Eva are playing some darts, we're gonna get this video sorted. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cooksey. Eva. Look, my cat. Eva. So, Rosie, what's your views on climate change, Rosie? Does not care at all.
Okay, this can be like behind the scenes footage. Yeah.
Or outtakes.
Yeah. Bloopers.
Because I think she got in a fight. So,
Action.
Brum, get out me car. Okay, so,
We have CFCs. We have atom bomb testing. That's basically another tree, isn't it? Yeah. So those are some of the ways that humans have influenced climate change.
Is that it?
That's fine. Okay.
okay, so, well, it's a bit of a stupid idea, but, we're in South Oxy, and we're just going to go around asking just random people, random members of the public, what they think about climate change. So, look, as you can see, we've got a car approaching right here. Let's see. Excuse me.
Off you diff. Cool. Now